What's up everybody, it's me bro, and I'm back with another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial, and in this video we are going to work on the aim offset, which basically means that when we equip a weapon, aim so that our character would look up and down when we aim up or down. And also, of course, we are going to replicate this. And in the following videos also we're going to fix this issue so that we couldn't walk while we are aiming. Same goes for the bow, by the way. And also we still need to shoot arrows, not arrows but bullets, because we can't shoot them. So let's begin with the aim offset thing. The first thing what I'm gonna do is go to my character folder where I have my animations and skeletal. And inside of here we need to create a couple of animations. So I'm going to use this pistol animation so that you guys could see what I'm talking about. So I have this pistol draw animation where I'm drawing out the gun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to rename this to pistol up. I'm going to open up this animation and I'm going to do some editing over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this asset details, and on the left side we have this additive settings, and we need to change this from no additive to mesh space. And for the base pose type we need to select selected animation frame. And for the preview pose, I guess I could use the idle animation, since it would be cool if our character would continue breathing while it draws the weapon. So the next thing, so this is the pistol up animation. I'm going to pause this animation somewhere where I have my hand up in the air. I'm going to right click in this frame, I don't know, frame something, where I have my frames basically. I'm going to right click and I'm going to remove frames from 0 till 9. So this wasn't enough, so I'm going to do this again, 0 till 7. So my 0 frame now has the arm up. So this is the finished position. And I'm going to right click again and delete frames 1 till 7. So I have only one frame left. So that's it for now. And for this, and the next thing what I need to do is select the skeleton, and I'm going to select my spine 5, and since this is pistol up we need to look upwards. So I'm going to bend my character upwards like so, and I'm gonna press S to save this in this location. So now if I press play, my character is standing like this. So that's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna save this now, close this, and I'm going to duplicate this animation and I'm going to call this pistol down. And inside of here we already have edited this additive settings, so all we gotta do now is select the spine. I'm gonna pause this and I'm going to just rotate this forward and press S again. Now let's see, something went wrong, so I'm gonna bend down, press S, and if we press play, yes, this works like it's supposed to. So now it is standing like so. So that seems good. Now I can close this. And the next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do exactly the same thing for my bow. So I'm going to duplicate the shoot arrow and I'm gonna rename this to arrow up. And I'm going to pause this in the frame where I have my hand drawn back. So actually I will just use the last frame and I'm going to delete everything up until that frame. So in the end it should look something like this. So my character is just standing still. Now in the assets details, again we need to do this mesh space and selected animation frame. And I'm going to use the idle animation for the preview so that our character would breathe as well. And one last thing that we want to do is select the skeletal and move back the spine. So let's rotate back, press S, we save the character in this location, Now we need to press play to test so that it wouldn't wobble, so that it would stay in this one position, which is good. That's exactly what we want. Now we can save this, close this up, and duplicate this and rename this to down. And all we gotta do here is just pause the animation, select the spine, and move the character forward. Press S again, save, and this is excellent. So that's that. The next thing what I'm gonna do is create the aim offset for these animations. So I'm gonna right click and I'm going to do the animations aim offset. And I'm gonna use my base character female skeletal, and I'm gonna call this, so this will be aim offset arrow. Let's begin with an arrow one. So over here we need to set asset details, and we need to set, so here we have the horizontal name, so I'm gonna call this horizontal, and the vertical, so vertical. We're not going to use, well, at least I'm not going to use the horizontals. Technically you could do some more animations on the sides as well if you have like side aim animations. All I have is up and down, and that's all that I'm gonna use. So I'm going to do this -90 till 90, so -90, 90. For this one it would be the same thing as well, and I'm going to drag in my arrow up in the top, and I'm gonna drag in my arrow down in the bottom. So there we go, we have our idle animation as well, and if we move up and down we can see that our character is bending up and down, and it is also breathing at the same time. There we go. So I will save this, close this, and create another blend space aim offset. So this is aim offset, let's call this revolver, although it's just a regular gun, but yeah. So horizontal, vertical, -90 till 90, and pistol animations, pistol up and pistol down. So that's that. Looks pretty good. Press save, and we can close this down. So the next thing what I want to do is, so let me show you. In the third person character we are setting, let's see, over here we are setting these animations manually, but we are going to switch this so that we would go through our animation blueprint. So you can use this system like I used in here in case if you want to let's say if you want to create a specific animation for a specific movement. Let's say you have like, I don't know, you want to do like a hand gesture or head movement, and yeah, just a custom animation. So you can use this system, but we are going to change this to the blend space animation blueprint. So I'm going to open up my animation blueprint. Let's see, we have it over here. So we have our female animation BP, and in the state machine we should add a new, well, 2 new states. So those states would be, let's call this attack bow, and we should probably also add a attack gun, and we need to move towards this animation and back to movement as well, like so. So that's that. Actually I could do this like so. There we go. And now we should set some we need to set these conditions, but before that I will just drag in these. So this was bow, so I'm gonna drag in the arrow offset, connect this like so, and I'm going to connect the idle animation like this. So there we go, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the gun, only I'm going to use the revolver offset like so. Where it is, there it is, the idle animation. So This will not work just yet. We need to set the vertical float values, and we need to set the conditions. So we are going to leave it at this for now. And now let's move towards our third person character blueprint, and let's do some adjustings over here. So what should we do is, actually we need to change quite a lot of things. So what should we do first is I will probably create this vertical value, float value. So I'm going to find my mouse input look up axis. There it is. I will make this a bit bigger, like so. We'll drag this back, and I need a custom event. So actually I might rename this to arrows gans anim replication, and over here I will add a custom event, and I'm going to call this server set offset aim. Seems like a decent name, and I'm going to run this on server. And I'm going to run this event every time we are looking upwards or downwards. So from here I'm going to server replicate, what was the name again? Set offset aim. Set offset aim, there we go. So that's that. And over here what we should do is we need to get control rotation. So this would get our controller rotation, and we also need to get actor rotation. There it is. So this is a reference to ourselves, so this will get the information from our third person character, and from here we need to do a delta rotator. There we go. I'm not quite sure what exactly this does, but I know that this gives me the exact value that I need, that is required for the aim offset, and it works perfectly. So I'm sorry that I'm not really able to explain this better. I actually should read the documentary for this. And now I'm going to right click on the return value, split these pins, and we need to use our Y pitch axis. So I'm going to drag from it and promote to a variable, and I'm gonna call this look pitch axis. Seems good. Connect this over here, and we need to replicate this variable. So select the replicated, and that's it for this one. So what we can do now is over here we can go to our event graph, and we can, as third person character, we can get our, what was it again, pitch, look pitch axis. There it is. Already forget the name and I just wrote it. And we need to promote this to a local animation blueprint variable. So promote to variable, and I'm gonna name this the same thing, look pitch axis. Since these are two different classes, it's not an issue. And what did just happen? My game froze. Oh, engine froze. So there we go. Now we can connect this, and yeah, that's it for this. So compile and save. Now in our states, in the attack bow, we can connect this variable to the vertical, and we can also connect this variable in our gun and set this to the vertical value as well. There we go. So now all we need is conditions, and now let's work on the conditions. So let me see. We are setting this is shooting arrow over here, which is not what we actually want to do. This one as well we are setting over here in the local space, and we need to replicate this. So we are already passing the name variable through this. So what I could do is, here we have this. We are asking server to run some of these animations as well. So I will move these back. And on this local one, which is just ran on server and not multicasted, I'm going to do a switch on string. I'm gonna use the name as the selection, and the names were bow and revolver. And from here I should probably set my variables. So for the bow it will be is shooting arrow, since we are shooting an arrow. And we need another one, and this is going to be is gun drawn. I guess that's how you spell it, not quite sure, but I'm gonna work with it. And I'm gonna set this to true as well and connect these over here like so. So the next thing what I should do is select these variables one by one, and I need to replicate these variables. And they are now getting set in the server replicated side, so that our server would know as well that we are doing these actions. So what we can do now is over here on the mouse left button pressed, we are setting this is shooting arrow, and we no longer need this over here, so we can delete that set node like so, because we are already setting it up here. And let's see, the next thing what we should do probably is remove this set as well. Yeah, seems good. So we can remove that set, and what we can do is actually, so we need to select this stop custom animation, which we are launching from over here, and we need to add a input to this, and this input will be the name of our weapon. So I'm gonna select the string type, and I'm going to connect this name to name like so. And now over here we have this variable. So what we can do is, let's see, so we have our name, so we need to do a switch on string, and by switching on string we can add two pins again, our bow and our revolver. And now we can set our variables back to false. So is shooting arrow false, and is gun drawn false. So connect the pins. So it should look something like this. There we go. So that's that. And let me see, do we have something else? Did we not miss? I guess we didn't. Let's check this out. So what we can do now is, so these are replicated like they are supposed to. And now in the animation blueprint we need to set the conditions. So the attack bow animation turns on if the arrow is shooting, so we need to drag in the event graph, we need to get these. So get is shooting arrow, and we also need to get is gun drawn. And let me see, I want to move these closer, so I might do a is shooting arrow and is gun drawn. There we go, there we go. So we now have these variables in our animation, and now we can set the conditions. So this is a bow, and we need to make sure that is shooting arrow set to true if we want to go to this animation, and if we want to return from this animation, then we need to make sure that this is equal to false like so. And the same thing goes for our gun. So this is that, so we need to is gun drawn, and we need to go back as well. So is gun drawn false. Connect the pins, compile and save. And now in our third person character we need to do one more thing, and this is, so let's drag this back a bit. So we are doing all of this job, and it's the correct thing. We are doing everything correctly, except for one thing. We still have this server start custom animation, and this turns off our animation blueprint and runs just custom one custom animation. So what we can do over here is we can do a delay if you still want to run these, and we can do, like, let's say a 1 second delay so that we would see these animations, weapons getting drawn. And then from here we can do the set animation mode. So let's see where it is. Set animation mode. And we can set this animation mode back to use animation blueprint. So now if we would press play this, then I guess everything should work like it is supposed to. So let's draw out a weapon, and if we look up, our character is starting to look up. If we look down, our character is starting to look down. There we go. So we're also dragging out the weapon. There we go. Awesome. Let's try this with a bow. So drawing out a bow. And there we go. So if you want, you can do a bigger delay, or you can also take this whole part out by... So what you could do, if you don't want to have this drawing aiming animation that you are like pulling up the gun and pulling up the arrow, you don't actually need this event at all. What you could do is simply disconnect this event in general, and if we would try to play this, what we would get is something like this. If we aim, our weapon goes up. There we go, and we are directly aiming. And same thing goes for the bow. We're instantly ready to shoot the arrow. So there we go. So let me just check this real quick with the client, see if this also properly replicates. And this does replicate properly, so I guess the bow should also work like it is supposed to. So we have done our aim offset, and it works great. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next videos.